Well, it looks like Angels Don't Fall got some jail time. Wow, some probation along with that. I talked about that before, that they will do that, running into people who are influenced, in my opinion, by the spiritual dimension. There is a hierarchy. There is a way that these things work. You'll deal with that. And that one time, I've mentioned this in other videos, that I was covertly drugged. Somebody put something in my drink. They drugged me out on the railroad tracks after I passed out. I tried to make it out of the building, which I did, but I didn't make it very far. I knew I couldn't drive. I woke up on the railroad tracks, ended up, half asleep, basically sleepwalking, wandering onto someone's property, and arrested. Didn't even try to tell anybody what happened.
You could try to play, but you're never gonna beat me. Look the other way, what I'm doing ain't easy. Bloody hands stained from the people who deceive me. Muddy hands break through the chains, go free me. Looking for change, looking for pain, pulling a mob, pushing a train. I'll never stop, stick to a lane, pick up the pieces and go rearrange. I'll be the best above all the rest, put me to the test and expect nothing less, your check as I'm chess, what's happening next, yeah. He got the venom, a tangible weapon, no coming in second. This life is a lesson, he got a new engine from pain, it's a blessing. New focus, no guessing, just bold and obsession. All in his possession, you got their attention. I'll leave an impression and take your redemption. Just kill, no discretion, your mind is a weapon. 11-11, it's time for progression, You could try to play, but you're never gonna beat me. Look the other way, what I'm doing ain't easy. Bloody hands stained from the people who deceive me. Muddy hands break through the chains, go free me. People like sheep move feet, hurt it easy. You don't wanna be fast asleep when they scheming. Better stand tall, ready for a fight, believe me. When they try the chains, you can say no, free me.
People that consider themselves, targeted individuals because they were having all these things done to them, and they did their research, and that's the closest thing that they could explain what the hell was happening, because all these weird things were happening, and all these people were coming after them for no reason, right? Well, not for no reason, but because they basically pissed somebody off that works in law enforcement, or for the court system, or for the Department of Justice, in some way, shape, or form, or emergency services, or first responders. Either way, you pissed the wrong person off, and now all this shit's happening to you. And that's what Dr. DeFacto was just talking about, his experience. It's like everybody that's why I am in the targeted individual community, because there's so many people that go through the same stuff. Now, there's a lot of weird, crazy stuff that people claim, but I just assume that most of that stuff is disinformation, and people put out the disinformation to try to make that's the whole plan, is to, make the target seem like they're crazy, okay? So they put a lot of fake shit out there so that they can do what Nerve Gorilla does, how he just presents it as all TIs are schizophrenic. Look at this and look at this. Well, he's pointing out the stuff that they put out there, so they can label that, targeted individuals as this and as that, and lump it all together. But let's be honest, let's be real. The only thing I know of my experience and what I know of any real targeted individuals is getting targeted by first responders, firemen, law enforcement, ambulances, EMS, and it's because they pissed off a chief of police, or the sheriffs, or the cops, or had an ex-spouse that was in law enforcement. In my case, my ex-wife's dad was in law enforcement for most of his life. So I'm just saying, putting the pieces together here makes sense. If it looks like a duck, sounds like a duck. But anyway, this is what Dr. DeFacto has to say about, what he thinks about law enforcement. I don't care. They already tried to kill me twice, so I don't care. What do I have to lose? What more can they do to me? They can kill me. I don't care. I don't care. If they kill me, then so be it. Then that was meant to be. But I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. So this is what he thinks about it.
Of course, the judge had it out for me. and I got probation and everything like that too. And I had to leave. I had to literally leave. I talked about that before. That target individuals can get persecuted in a way where, when it gets into the legal realm, or you're dealing with the cops or something like that. I know Targeted Patton has dealt with that. You got to be careful, brother. If you watch this, be careful, man.
Yeah, I'm watching.
I know he stands up for himself very aggressively. I don't do that. I try to be very, I don't know, abase.
I don't blame you,
because I know what can happen. I've dealt with that before, and I had to leave town because it just got so bad. I mean, I was doing the community service, I was doing the probation and everything, and they would just come and arrest me for no reason while I was doing my community service and say, "You know why I did that? Just for you."
Yeah.
And we're going to keep doing it. In fact, we're going to double your fine and your community service. Yep. And you know why? Just because.
Because they can.
And I was like, okay, I got to get the hell out of here now.
That's why I'm so adamant and speak out so much, because I'm not going anywhere. I'm not going anywhere. So if they want me gone, they'll have to kill me. And I'm not going to be part of the problem. You know, if I could run away, and there's a good chance that it'll follow me, and that I'll get targeted wherever else I go. And then what did I solve? I did nothing but empower them to do what they do. I refuse to do that. I believe that I'm here for a reason. There's a reason why they weren't successful in their attempts on my life twice, and all the other stupid shit they tried to do to me. There's a reason for that. And I've said this before, you know, that my life is not my own. It belongs to to everybody else in the plan. Whatever you know God has in store for me, whatever the whole point of this is, it's not for me. It's for everybody else. And so I just do what I feel is right. I go with the flow, and I do what I feel. You know what I mean? So I understand where you're coming from, Doc, de facto, but you have to understand that they get their power because of the fear, because of people playing into the fear. And I do understand, you know, so far nobody has been able to come up against them yet, right? So they've only been able to enforce their power, and if you keep pushing, they push back, and they've have 100% success rate, really. So, but because they haven't been, you know, held accountable, and this hasn't been exposed the whole way yet. But if you pay attention and you take a look, and you compare it to what it was 10 years ago, it's drastically different right now. And if we don't take advantage of this opportunity that we have right now, there's some momentum going right now with the First Amendment auditors community, with all the people that are doing this to so many people, that this is the time, if there ever was one, to bring attention to this subject and show everybody, you know, what goes on, the truth, you know, show them the truth. Because it's hard to believe, real hard to believe. But if everybody speaks out right now, everybody speaks out, how can they ignore it? How can they possibly ignore it? I mean, you see people every day, all day. Like, I see new people every day that they've done this to, or they do this to. It's like, is there anybody left? There can't be too many people left. It's crazy to me. So I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing. You know, I'm not doing it for any other reason, not for clout, not for attention, not for money, not for justice for myself, not for spite or satisfaction, but for our kids' future, so that our kids can grow up in a future and not have to worry about this shit, not have to live with that fear, right? And that system of control, and a police state, and there's a surveillance state. Fuck that shit. Fuck that shit. I choose no. If it means my life, then so be it. At least I died doing something that was important, right? So that's where I stand. I understand where you're coming from, Doc, though.
I don't even do anything. But it can go into that realm of persecution. And once
I wanted to add, yeah, I learned, that's another thing I learned, that no matter what, you know, I shut up, I shut my mouth, I laid low, I didn't do anything, I didn't tell anybody, and they just kept reminding me that they're still never going to stop. They're still going to keep coming after me, even after all that. So that's when I realized they're never going to stop anyway. So what do I have to lose? I might as well speak out. And the more I speak out, the more effective it is and the less that they actually target me. Believe it or not.
once you cross that line, you might have to relocate. I've talked about that before, that a lot of targets will do that. They will be like, man, if I got to leave the state, I've got to leave the country. And if you're I don't know, if you're expecting to get away from gang stalking altogether, you're going to be surprised, depending on what you're dealing with. Because I've heard of people leaving the United States, and it's just waiting for them when they get there.
Right.
Because the kingdom of darkness rules the world right now. Right? They're everywhere. Right? It might be different, but in the case where you're dealing with legal issues, what do? I mean, you get out of the county, you get out of the city or whatever, you get away.
Nope, you bring.
I had to do that, and sometimes you have to.
Or you just bring everything to the light. Make sure that everything is brought to the light, because they can't operate in the light; they operate in the shadows.
Do that, like I said at the beginning of the video. You want to take this stuff serious, because they're not playing around with you. Okay. You want to get a security system. You want to start living your life in a way that they have no reason to accuse you of anything. I've talked about that before, going to a bar or playing around, or, having a few beers out on your porch or something like that. Normal people get away with that. But when it becomes an issue for a targeted individual, well, they'll set you up.
Yep, I quit doing all that.
It doesn't even matter whether you're drunk. You just got beer on your breath, or who knows what's going to happen. I've had that to where people were literally, throwing beer cans and stuff in my yard and calling the police and saying I was shooting guns and selling drugs.
they do that shit.
I didn't do any of that. Finally, the cops are like, what the hell? Why are these people calling me? Why are they calling us to come out here, doing welfare checks and everything else? And I said, well, you're asking the wrong person. I said, obviously, there's nothing going on out here, right? Yeah, well, yeah. Well, then, how do we stop this? I said, well, tell them next time they call and you come out here and there's nothing going on, that they're the ones that are going to get charged.
Yep. And
it stopped.
So you're lucky.
Luckily, I haven't made any enemies.
Yeah, you're lucky you didn't.
Here where I am, I never had a problem with the police.
That's good.
In the city that I'm in. You get into a small town or something like that, where targeted Patton is messing around, you're playing hardball then. You could be in some serious trouble. You mess up, it's over. You get set up, the hammer's coming down. It's a dangerous game to play.
And that's fine if it happens. If it happens, then it won't be in vain. And everything that I've said about, because they'll do it for no reason, and then who they're going to look at. They're going to, everybody's going to know who did it, and they're going to know exactly where to point their finger and who's responsible for it because of me speaking out. So they can do that if they want. If that is, if that's the point and that's my fate, so be it. But it won't be in vain. It'll make a difference.
Sometimes targets have to relocate. Sometimes you can get to that point, unfortunately.
I didn't have a purpose before, now I do. So.
Okay.
And I know for a fact what this corrupt chief of police does with prescription medication that isn't his. He took mine right out of the bottle. It had my name on it. It was my medication in my bottle with my name on it, and he kept them. He wouldn't give them back. And then somebody else that I knew, it was my ex-girlfriend, her ex-boyfriend. He had abandoned his truck on the road because he had a warrant, didn't have a license, I guess. I don't know. He was getting pulled over, so he just bailed. So they impounded the truck. But then he got charges, right? He later on got charges for possession of a controlled substance per not regulated. And specifically, the exact same medication that this cop took from me. And miraculously, the same exact amount that was missing from what he took from me. See, he took 22 of my pills. 2 weeks later, when I asked for them back, he then tried to claim that there was only 12 there, right? When he wouldn't give them back. He said, "Oh no, I told you have to show me proof of your prescription." And I said, "What are you talking about? You took my bottle. It's my bottle with my name on it. What are you fucking talking about, dude?" You know, and that's when he got really mad and threatened me. But he yelled out, "There was only 12 in there out of 45 count." I said, "No, there wasn't. There was 22. So I thought it was really funny, like, it was like that week, a couple days later after I told my girlfriend this at the time, and she showed me, immediately after telling her this, she showed me a text message from her ex-boyfriend, and he was pissed because he was getting charges for 10 of the medication that this guy took from me. And he was mad because not only was he claiming that he did not have those. They weren't his. There was not 10 green Xanax in that truck. He said, "I know for a fact there wasn't because I got my truck out of impound," he said, "and my Klonopins were still in the same place I left them." So he actually did have Klonopins in this truck. He had a different kind of benzo in his truck, and they didn't find those. They didn't even look. They didn't bother searching. So that's why I believe him, You can't make this shit up. So the guy actually, he got his truck out of impound, and he retrieved the drugs that he did leave in the truck because nobody took them. But he was getting charged with 10 green Xanax, and he was pissed because he didn't have any Xanax, And if he did have any Xanax, they would have been with the Klonopins. You know what I mean? So I just thought it was really funny and really convenient how this officer took my 22 of my green Xanax a week prior to this and then tried to claim that there was 10 less, exactly 10 less than what he took. And he never gave them back anyway. He kept them. So I can only speculate, but I think anybody with half a brain and, maybe a kindergarten level education can figure out that this corrupt piece of shit, after he took my prescription medication from me, he then planted it on this other person so that he could charge them with possession. I mean, pretty clear, cut and dry here. I should be an investigator. I solved the case. This is one of these corrupt fucking... You hear about them, on YouTube videos, and you hear about these cops out here that not only are they not protecting and serving people, but they're pulling people over, innocent people over, and then they're planting drugs on them, right? Planting drugs and then pretending to find drugs on them, and these people are like, "I don't even do drugs." And it doesn't matter. Cops lie, and they do this shit. And there's no rhyme or reason. It doesn't even make sense why they do it. Like, why? I don't get that. Do you just, get off, planting evidence on people and charging them with crimes? Does it make you feel better about yourself? If you would just do your job, if you would have done your job and actually searched the vehicle and been a good cop, you would have found drugs on Jay Sutton's truck. That was Jay Sutton's white truck that he abandoned. He had Klonopins in the truck. He still had Klonopins when he got his truck out of impound because your fat fucking lazy ass didn't search his vehicle. Why would you have to search his vehicle when you already planted fucking Xanax in his truck? I doubt you even planted it. You probably didn't even get him out of the truck. There's probably no body cam. You know what I mean? You guys are so used to being corrupt and lazy that you don't even go above and beyond to try to make it look like a setup, or make the person look guilty. You just straight set them up, and you've never had anybody challenge you. Nobody has ever said that's bullshit. And have you ever had anybody investigate the cops? Probably not, because the chief of police for Hastings is Jason Owens. Officer Jason Owens. He used to be a Nanny Glow cop. Then he was a state cop, right? I don't know about you, but I don't see too many state troopers that go back to being a town cop, right? You don't see that happen too often unless they did something wrong, right? And lost their job. So I can only speculate. I don't know what Jason Owens did to lose his job as a Pennsylvania state police state trooper. Maybe he quit. Maybe it was voluntary. I don't know. All I know is he was a state police officer. He was actually the arresting officer or whatever for a case that happened in 2019 here locally, where they raided Jimmy Troxel's. I think it's Jimmy Troxel's his name. Or, I don't know. It was out in Clearfield County here, that when they raided his house and they found like $50,000 worth of meth and shit, and like it was a big bust. I remember reading the docket sheet, seeing that's how I knew he was a state cop. So I think that was the end of his short-lived state police officer career, because I think whatever he did in that case is probably why he got fired or whatever, or they fucked up. I don't know. There's something to do with that though, because I saw him as the arresting officer, Jason Owens, because I said, look, he's a state cop now. He used to be a cop in Nanny Glow. And he screwed me over in Nanny Glow fucking when Brandy Endler stole fucking $2,400 from me. And then the cop went into her apartment, found a bunch of pills and all kinds of shit on her whenever he investigated because she called the cops on herself, because I went to get my money back. And she didn't know what to do. And so she called the cops, and I said, great, thank you for calling the cops for me, so I don't have to do it. So I reported it, and I went to court. And when I went to court, I met another victim of this person. This person broke into their house and robbed her as well. So, you know, we're sharing our victim stories, you know. And this was right before Christmas I got robbed from this bitch. I went to help her out, and she fucking robbed me for $2,400. So whenever we went to court, it was a Jackson Township magistrate. And Jason Owens, Officer Jason Owens of the Nanny Glow Police. They went in, and he comes up. We didn't get to go in and have a case. You know, we're the victims, right? He just wrote it up as $1,000 in my case. You know, instead of $2,400, I guess he just decides whatever. I told him, you know, she took $2,400 off me. But in the police complaint or whatever, he just decided, nah, you don't deserve $2,400. I'm just going to put $1,000. So that's what he did, I guess. I don't fucking know. I was happy to try to get some kind of possible recoup, you know, to recoup something right before Christmas. My fucking all the money for my kids' fucking Christmas presents and shit. So this is months later when we actually had a court case. I go in, and I wasn't surprised to find another victim from Brandy Endler, right? And I knew from that night that she should have had drug charges and everything else. She was selling drugs, and she was all fucked up. They found drugs in her house with a young child in the house as well. But we get to court, and me and this other woman, she's an elderly woman who's on Social Security, right? And was helping Brandy out, and Brandy, that's how Brandy repaid her, Brandy Endler. She fucking broke into her house and stole from her, robbed her. So all of a sudden, Jason Owens comes out of the courtroom, and Brandy comes out with a big-ass fucking smile on her face. Yep. So they all had their little private meeting in the courtroom without the victims. We didn't get to be heard, right? We had to take our time. I had to take my day off work, you know, lose money from taking off work to go to this hearing just so I could sit there and get a big fucking smile from the person that ripped me off, from the person that robbed me. Yeah, she smiled on her way out of the courtroom. And Jason Owens came over to us and said, well, she's going to go to rehab, so they They dismissed the cases. They just dismissed the cases, and she's going to go to rehab now. I'm like, what the fuck? What the fuck? How does that work? How does that make any sense at all? Oh, so she's going to go to rehab so she doesn't have to pay us back? All of a sudden, it's like she didn't rob us or something? So, you obviously know what happened there, right? She's an narc. You know what I mean? They flipped her in that fucking courtroom, and they got her to agree to be a narc. This is real simple. Any idiot with a fucking kindergarten education can see what happened there. Because that's not how that's supposed to work at all. The only reason they would risk dismissing a victim's case where there's restitution involved and just saying, fuck it, they don't care about the victim, fuck it, is if they're going to be working, if they're going to be, benefiting from that person. So they dropped her charges. And she went to rehab, I guess. I don't know. That was it. They're just like, sorry about your luck. You're burnt. You're burnt. Same with this other lady beside me. She was burnt too. You're just burnt. You see what I mean? That's Officer Jason Owens when he was in Nanny Globe, before he was a state trooper. So he's obviously a corrupt piece of shit as well. So whatever happened with the state police, I don't know. He's he comes back and now he's a Hastings officer. I noticed that he's, an officer for Hastings. Whenever Dill tried to kill me and Jason Owens, he went, he was like, I don't know, Dill's an idiot. So it's like Jason Owens just tried to be like quiet and in the background and just tried to use Dill as a scapegoat, I think, to get him to do something stupid, so he could just play dumb and use plausible deniability and be like, I don't know. It's not my case. It's Dill's case. I don't know. I'm just assisting, Yeah. So after they broke into my apartment unannounced and arrested me at gunpoint in front of my son without a warrant and unannounced, then he got promoted. He became the chief of police of Hastings after that. Yep. That's how they roll. But 3 days after that incident, then they plastered my name all over the news, Facebook and all that, and said I was wanted for felony breaking and entering, felony burglary and breaking and entering. So they were set to be in trouble for doing what they did, for breaking into my apartment unannounced without a warrant, right? So what do they got to do? They got to make it look like I did that, right? They got to blame somebody for the crime. So that's what they did. When I went to the hearing, they tried to get me to take a deal. They said, we'll drop the felony charges if you pay for the restitution for the door. I said, you can fucking eat a dick. I didn't break the door. It's my fucking door. You broke the door. That'd be a fucking cold day in hell. I pay for restitution for my own fucking door that you broke. And then they stole all my stuff. So they charged me with something that didn't even happen. You see how fucked up it is? It's like in your face. Like we broke your door in. We stole all your stuff. But we're going to blame you for it. We're going to say that you broke in your own apartment and stole your own stuff, even though we know you didn't do it. And then we're going to go around and tell all your family and friends and put you all over the news, right? And in court, whenever my lawyer asked, why, what his client had anything to do with this criminal complaint, you know what I mean? He had to ask him, he's like, is my client's name even listed in your criminal complaint? And Dillhole answered, no. So that's funny, isn't it? How the fuck do they get a felony arrest warrant, put it all over the news and Facebook? How do they obtain that warrant? How long did they have to suck Creaney's dick to get that warrant? Because it wasn't, to my understanding, Travis Schilling told me that warrant was issued by Fred Creaney out of the adult probation building in Evansburg. Same building where the Child Protective Services is, adult probation, juvenile probation, behavioral health, and then Fred Creaney, the magistrate Fred Creaney's office. They're all in the same building up there. So that's where, according to Travis Schilling, that's where the warrant came from, which didn't make any sense. But I never saw the criminal complaint. They like played keep away, and my paid lawyer fucking folded it up and tucked it in his pocket at the court hearing. So I couldn't see it. I never got a copy of that criminal complaint. And they're bad actors. He pulled his phone out so he could record the hearing, you know. He had an app. He said he had an app, and so he could just record the hearing so I didn't have to pay for transcripts, right? But he made sure he pointed out, oh, the app won't work. He couldn't get the app to work. You don't know. He just shrugged his shoulders. Oh, I don't know. The app won't work. I don't know. It's like they do it in your face, you know. They're like, here, well, sorry, we can't record this. My app won't work. Right? And then they did some shady shit where they did 2 hearings at the same time. They just, you know, I didn't even get a say in it. Like, my paid lawyer that was working against me, working for the prosecutor, it was fucked up. It was the most fucked up court hearing you'll ever hear. Because I had 2 sets of charges from 2 different dates, 2 totally separate incidents, right? Yet, we did 1 preliminary hearing for both of those sets of charges. Okay? Yeah, it's fucked up. But my lawyer had to ask him, you know, is my client's name even in your criminal complaint? After he asked a series of questions to begin with, and it wasn't making any sense. He couldn't even establish anything at all, trying to figure out what they have on me, you know, if they even had the grounds to fucking to charge me with anything. You know, that's what your preliminary hearing is all about. You get to see what kind of probable cause or what kind of evidence they have against you to even bring charges up on you. And if they don't, if they can't, they have to prove and establish their articulatable reasonable suspicion or their evidence that they used. That they have to prove that at your preliminary hearing, the evidence that they used to bring charges up on you. So they did all of this already ahead of time, and I don't know. The charges got dismissed right then and there, like it wasn't even a question. Those were dismissed. Okay. My name wasn't even in the criminal complaint, apparently. So, I'm sorry, but I still have a bunch of questions now. I got a whole bunch of questions about that. So, anyway, my lawyer was working for them. He ignored me and allowed them to steal all my stuff. You know what I mean? There's nothing I could even do because after they arrested me illegally at gunpoint in front of my son and broke in without a warrant, then in the parking lot, they gave me my gun back, released me because I didn't break the law. Because when you trespass someone, you have to give them the opportunity to leave. You can't just trespass them and then charge them with criminal trespassing. It's not that, you know what I mean? It doesn't work like that. When you tell somebody that they're being officially trespassed from a property, you have to allow them the ability to leave, okay? And then if they come back, that's when it's trespassing. That's when it's criminal trespassing. So that never happened. I never came back. That wasn't even, to be honest, that wasn't even an official trespass. An official trespass is on paper, and the building manager or the property owner's involved. You know, that was just the cops. The cops just came to my apartment, broke the door down, and then trespassed me from my own apartment. That was it. Actually, he didn't even know what was up. He asked me while I was illegally detained in the car. He comes up to the window, and because he don't know what the fuck to do. He's in trouble because they were going to kill me, but it didn't work out. They weren't able to kill me because my son was recording it. So now they had to improvise. They don't know what to fucking do. So he comes up to the window and he said, did they mail trespass to you, or did they give it to you by hand? And he literally asks me this question while I'm illegally detained in the car. And I said that's the thing, Dale. I never got a trespass. I was never trespassed. Nobody told me I was trespassed. I've been trying to get a hold of the landlord for 6 months. She keeps avoiding me. I said, that's what I'm talking about. I already told him this shit. He knew this shit. But he literally admits this on camera. He literally asks me, while I'm illegally detained, am if they mailed me a trespass or if they gave it to me by hand. And I told them they never gave me one. I was not trespassed. Okay? So, that, I mean, the whole thing is in the video. You can prove the whole thing right there. So, when Ed and Jimmy Grabowski try to say, oh, you're a criminal, you were evicted, and then you came back and tried to take your stuff and it wasn't yours. They don't know what the fuck they're talking about at all. Like, at all. Believe me, I wouldn't be saying this shit over and over again with the at risk of being wrong or sounding wrong about any of the legal issues. So, Ed, before you say something retarded, Ed, or Jimmy Grabowski, okay, before you say something retarded, just remember, okay, there was charges filed, you know, and if there was any crimes committed, then they would have been found, they would have been proven in court, and if I was innocent, that would have also been proven in court, right? So, I have to remind you idiots that they dismissed all charges against me because I fought it for a year. They drug it out for an entire fucking year. The defiant trespass, right? That trespass, yeah. And the state, okay, the prosecutor, they requested to dismiss the charges. They filed a motion to dismiss the charges based on the fact that they didn't have sufficient evidence to charge me. But yet I was charged. You see what I'm saying? Like, the lawyer even told me that the prosecutor was fucking pissed off because this cop was making him look like a stupid fucking idiot. The cop was making his job harder because he would just charge people, send these charges up there, and he'd have to deal with this, with these fucking, all of these really crimes. They're, you know, constitutional law violations, they're civil rights violations. And when the lawyer comes into a pretrial conference or whatever to talk to the prosecutor, and he looks down and sees that it's one of Dillhole's cases, he's like, oh, fuck, not another one. I guess he had two the one day alone from Dill that were just totally fucking off-the-wall crazy fucking cases that should have never even been charges at all. So that's how he referred to it with me. He's like, I guess the other person had an even more batshit crazy case than me. So, yeah, they dismissed those charges. And they tried to trick me into paying court costs. It was $60, like $63 or something. And I knew what they were doing. It was just an attempt to get me to pay the court costs because that is a form of guilt, right? Admitting guilt. When you pay any fees associated with crime, you know, with charges that they file against you, and you voluntarily or knowingly pay court fees that were as a result of these charges, right? That is admitting guilt. They will use that in itself to prove that you admitted guilt, to prove your guilt. You know, they can even come back after and charge you again with shit. Because, oh, well, you just proved your guilt by paying those court costs. So, therefore, we're going to charge you again. Now we have the evidence we need to charge you. You see what I mean? They can do that. And that's one of their tactics that they play. One of the games they play. They do a fucking half-ass case that's never going to see its way through. It's never going to pan out. But during that case, you end up incriminating yourself. You know what I mean? Through the shitty fucking process, you think that they're idiots and you get off but really all they were doing was just abusing the court system to trick you into incriminating yourself on the record. Now they can do it right the second time and mocha stop. So anyway, yeah, this cop here, Travis Schilling, corrupt piece of shit. Jason Owens, the chief of police of Hastings, corrupt piece of shit. They're all corrupt. I don't know what else to tell you. They are criminally. They're criminals. Okay, each of them have committed multiple crimes against me. if they've done it to me, and I could prove it, and they've done it, each of them several times, how many other people do you think they're doing it to? And when they did it to me, it wasn't even necessary. Roll that around in your fucking brain for a minute if you got one. I know Ed doesn't, but think about that. Think about that real hard for a second. Why would a cop go out of their way to lie on an official police report and put their job and their career at risk all that, just so they could, throw a fucking fake charge at you? Why would they take all these risks and do all that?
You could try to play, but you're never gonna beat me. Look the other way, what I'm doing ain't easy. Bloody hands stained from the people who deceive me. Muddy hands break through the chains, go free me. Looking for change, looking for pain, pulling a mob, pushing a train. I'll never stop, stick to a lane, pick up the pieces and go rearrange. I'll be the best above all the rest, put me to the test and expect nothing less, your check as I'm chess, what's happening next, yeah. He got the venom, a tangible weapon, no coming in second. This life is a lesson, he got a new engine from pain, it's a blessing. New focus, no guessing, just bold and obsession, all in his possession. You got their attention, I'll leave an impression and take a redemption. Just kill, no discretion, your mind is a weapon. 11-11, it's time for progression, You could try to play, but you're never gonna beat me. Look the other way, what I'm doing ain't easy. Bloody hands stained from the people who deceive me. Muddy hands break through the chains, go free me. People like sheep move feet, hurt it easy. You don't wanna be fast asleep when they scheming. Better stand tall, ready for a fight, believe me. When they try the chains, you can say no, free me. So he's been looking for somebody who could save him, instead of searching inside for what they gave him. A strong will, strong mind causes mayhem. We could change the world, change times, rearrange them. Staying on pace, running the race. Life is a chase, I don't want a place, I wanna be first. Work till it hurts, dehydrated thirst till I'm in a hearse. High ambitions and the right mind can take you so far. It's like you lived a few lifetimes. Take off from a break off from the weak minds, they can stay soft. You can change lives, you create thoughts, never waste time. You got one shot, you got one life, better pop off. What do you like? Make a dream job. No 9-5, no mean boss, just my life and free thoughts. You could try to play, but you're never gonna beat me. Look the other way, what I'm doing ain't easy. Bloody hands stained from the people who deceive me. Muddy hands break through the chains, go free me. People like sheep move feet, hurt it easy. You don't wanna be fast asleep when they scheming. Better stand tall, ready for a fight, believe me. When they try the chains, you can say no, free me.